Yeah, I read a book about it.
Cool. Yeah. What do you have pro tips you can give us?
They said generally a rule for buying good alcohol is if it was distilled at a lower alcohol content, but bottled at a higher alcohol content. The idea being like no one likes the taste of alcohol, but you don't go to a liquor store to buy water,
Right?
So that's generally the good rule.
Interesting.
Dude from the 50s, so he would live through Prohibition and stuff. So he had some cool
he knew all the
perspectives.
tricks.
He had some cool perspectives on it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's kind of a dorky thing to do, but
I know. I turned 21. I was like, I gotta learn a little something.
So I will admit that when I started, we need to turn everybody down here. Okay. I will also admit that when I started growing a beard, I read a book about the history of beards and what it meant culturally throughout time.
Yeah.
It was a great book.
Yes,
It was some dude's doctoral thesis.
Whoa!
It was awesome.
Okay.
Nice.
It was a great book. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. We're rolling.
This is it.
Sir.
Yeah, this is it. So on the podcast today, we got Gustav Wenz. You guys know Gustav. Go ahead and introduce yourselves, fellas.
Josh Wordell. First time.
All right.
Excited. Thanks
Nice.
for having
What are you
us.
into, man?
Let's see. I'm doing sports right now. Played football since 5th grade, something like that. In track right now. Me and Gus. Having
Yes,
fun.
we are.
Don't be shy. You're a darn good wide receiver, too.
Back in the day.
Yeah.
Of
Back in
last
the
fall.
Yeah, for all the fans out there, the whole team's really mad that he didn't play this spring.
No,
So-
we cooled things off.
Oh,
Don't
okay.
Cool things off?
We cooled things off.
What do you want to talk about? Why or no?
Oh yeah, I mean, I've been playing football since 5th grade. I think was when I first started playing junior Pacer football. Went to Shoreland Lutheran High School. Yeah, Shoreland.
Yeah.
Go Pacers.
Okay.
And I think with the weird year, with COVID, had to make a decision because football was in the spring now this year, alongside with track. May have just kind of been done with football. Put my heart and soul into it, and I had not done track all these years in college. So yeah, nothing with coaches or players or playing time or anything like that. Of course not.
Yeah.
But yeah.
One, it sounds weird, but when you're in good programs, which you were in good high school programs and college programs, it does take a lot out of you too. You kind of live and breathe it, and then, like you kind of said, comes a point where you're done. I think not to project onto you, but when I was done, I was done too.
Sure.
And I obviously didn't have the opportunity to come back because my eligibility was gone,
Mm-hmm.
so I couldn't have played more if I wanted to. But I don't know if I could have. I don't know if I could have played another year.
And I do miss it for sure. But I wouldn't say I regret not doing track.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and I do enjoy track a lot as well. So.
And who are you, Jon?
Wait, what?
Well, who are you?
I'm Jon Riebe. I'm from Eau Claire, Wisconsin. First time on this podcast. Happy to be here.
Ew.
I like basketball. Love sports.
Baller.
Love to watch sports. Happy to be at Martin Luther College. Graduating in a couple of weeks.
What?
And,
He's an old man.
Yep, I'm getting old. Just celebrated number 22. So.
Oh.
Sweet. Very cool.
T-Swift
And he is a baller. He can
Oh, yeah.
ball. It's not just because the hat's backwards. Although we're all rocking the backwards hat. now that
I was
think
gonna
about
say
it, so.
something about that. Like, Josh, there's an extra cap,
Yeah.
man. You can throw something up.
Hat is
Yeah, you gotta grab the
Hat has never gone on my head
1989 Palm Springs John Deere convention hat there.
That's right up my alley.
So, before we get into the show, got to shout out our sponsor. Just got out of the shower, so I got to put beard oil on. Anyway, you guys don't have any hair. You can smell one if you want.
Give us a demonstration.
All right,
Get a
so,
demonstration how you do this?
Just take a little bit.
One day for us. When we
Just
grow
take a little bit of beard oil, dribble it in your hands, and then you don't want to use too much. Although mine's really thick, so you got to use one. Okay, and you just work it in, because when you shampoo your beard, it takes all the natural oils and things out of it.
Sure.
So essentially, it's essential oils and other things, but bring that health back to your beard. Make sure you don't have like split ends and things like that, which you wouldn't think you'd have to worry about, but once it happens, it's awful. So especially with the masks, it does a number on the beard. So
Sure, yeah.
you can buy this beard oil. This is Deep in Woods, my favorite scent. It smells awesome.
Yeah,
You smell
nice.
it, just sniff it. That's
Careful.
my favorite one. Whiskey Barrel's really good.
It's very sweet.
There's sandalwood. There's a couple other flavors that are excellent. You can buy that from Nate Hensler at sites.google.com/Burger General, or find him on Facebook. Nobody likes dandruff in your beard. It's not sexy. You don't want that. So use some beard oil. Take care of it.
So can you put
And buy
beard
it from
oil
Nate
in
Hensler.
your regular hair?
I do often. Yeah.
Oh.
Just up top.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. I do. Especially if I accidentally pour too much in my hands.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Or I just massage it into the chest there and
Armpits?
let
or
it be
no?
what it is.
Oh, yeah.
No, I like a different scent in my armpits.
Okay.
You know, you
Fair
gotta
Fair enough.
differentiate your styles. You know.
Uh,
Yeah. Should be an adventure when you walk past. Different
Yeah.
scents for different stages of the walk. So, all right. Our
Fantastic.
topic for the day is ambition. Ambition. Okay. So, like ambition can be one of those things that gets talked about really positively. It can be talked about really negatively, especially in the realm of like service to the church and things like that. So I think it's particularly applicable to a group of guys like us
Yeah.
who are pursuing that church ministry. But it's also extremely applicable. Messed that word up twice now.
Applicable?
Applicable, whatever.
That's how I say it.
Yeah, sounds good. We'll use that.
Okay.
Anyway, extremely applicable.
there you go.
Is that right?
There you go.
Yeah. To young men in general, right? There's a lot of dudes in our generation who have no ambition whatsoever. And there's also a lot of dudes in our generation that have misplaced or unwise ambitions. So I think it's a good conversation to start with. So, like the starting point here has to be what is ambition? What does it mean to be ambitious?
I mean, we were just talking about ambition a little bit ago with some friends in respect to the ministry and how it's tough being here. It's tough to view what you're going to be doing in 3 years, 4 years, and for the case of pre-sem pastor track, it's 5, 6, 7 years, and it's tough to picture yourself into that future and to say this is what I'm driving myself to do when you're learning all these weird languages or you got to write all these weird lesson plans for teacher track, and it's tough to picture yourself in that. And so ambition can be tough, but I think it's viewing yourself where you want to be in the future and then making sure you get that.
Yeah, kind of painting a picture of the man I want to be someday, the person I want to be someday in the future.
Yeah, I feel like go along with that. When someone says to you, "Oh, that's ambitious," when you talk about a goal, I feel like ambition is trying to set yourself to be better than you are now, or to improve yourself in some sort of facet of your life. So.
Well, and I think it can almost be condescending sometimes, like, "Wow, that's ambitious." But the backside of that is it's not ambitious unless there's a strong possibility of failure. Like, if it's not actually challenging, if there's not a strong possibility that you're going to fail, then it's really not that ambitious. So I think that's an important part of it, too. Is, my goal shouldn't be just, like, to be the same, to not get any better, to just kind of stay where I'm at. It's really not ambitious at all.
And I feel like if there's no fear of failure, it's probably not worth doing for you.
Oh, yeah.
So that's...
Should terrify you a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm with both of these guys. I don't know how much more I could add to that, Like, ambition is that's what is fueling your fire to get to where you're trying to go.
Right. So, since we are all, like I said, trained for the church, what does ambition look like for guys like us? You guys are both pastor track?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it seems to me like I can't remember if it was in our reading from Revelation today in my Bible history class or if it was something I read in 2 Peter. But either way, it seems as though, especially with us going into the ministry, ambition is something that's a hard line to walk, because you don't want to somehow turn it into something selfish, and be overly ambitious. Because the reason, why is that in my head? Like, was that a sermon in chapel today? No, that wasn't what Dose was talking about. I don't know. All I remember is that the fact of the matter is us going into ministry shouldn't be because we're doing it for out of our own ambition. We're doing it out of love for our fellow human beings.
Right. So the question, I think, is where does that cross the line then?
Right.
Well, I just feel like ambition is definitely something to be careful with as we go into ministry. As you look at where you want to be with the church one day, how you want it to grow, and you set these goals and you achieve them. And you start to think, oh man, I'm doing such great things for the church. Gotta set my ambitions higher. When sometimes you gotta relax and say it's not what I'm doing at all. It's kind of how God's using me as a tool. So I guess that's a tough question to ask, how you set ambitions, knowing you're just a tool. I don't know. I guess that's something I don't grasp fully.
I mean, I know a good number of people who just like stress themselves out so much over homework, over to a point where probably not healthy, you know. And and for them, I think it's almost like very Mary versus Martha and doing the work for when Jesus comes, where they have the wrong idea of ambition, and it's almost a selfish thing. They're not doing it completely for the betterment of the church or for your education. They just I think they just want a good grade.
Right.
And that idea of ambition is, I don't think, in the right spot for that. Yeah.
I thought that Mary Martha application was solid there. That's kind of a good way.
They had different ambitions when Jesus came. One went and learned from Jesus. The other was thought, probably in like a good mindset, I got to prepare for Jesus, but wrong kind of ambition.
Well, and at the same time, at some point, the meal had to be prepared.
True.
They had to clean the house. They got a guest coming over.
Right.
But what's your priority? I think, and that's a tough one with school too. I tend to fall on the other side where I'm like, hey, I'm gonna learn what I gotta learn, but I don't always apply myself the way I should.
Right.
And it almost becomes like the opposite thing. Granted, I have other stuff going on, but like it almost becomes the opposite where I don't have enough ambition because I know I'm gonna make it. So it's just kind of like,
right.
In terms of grades, I think the world is kind of caught up in the idea of grades, where the way I view it, like, you get an 80% on a test or even a 75% on a test, most students kind of look down on you for having that,
Right.
Whereas, like, I think, if you, in ministry, if a 75 or 80% of your ministry goes well, that's a pretty good ministry, That's a good ministry. That's the way I look at it. And, I mean, of course, try your hardest, you can't. But I think this world kind of does have a weird take on grades.
Yeah, and we misunderstand. This is a big passion thing for me when I was teaching, was helping parents and students understand the purpose of grades. Like, your grades are simply a reflection of what you've learned so far. So if you're getting bad grades, it's a sign that you're not learning everything that you need to, like, you don't have everything down that you need to know yet. And I think that's a flaw in our American system. Most countries don't do it the way that we do it. It's more of like a check mark thing. Like, they know this, they know this, they know this.
Yeah.
And at the end of the year, if you've got them all checked off, you go on to the next grade.
Yeah.
And you still end up with like an 80% at the end of the year because, that's the cutoff or whatever it might be. But we forget a lot of times that, like, especially, so right now with my pre-algebra students, there'll be a couple of kids that will just fail the first 3 times, They're just going to fail. And eventually they'll understand it and they'll pass it, but they're not going to understand it and pass it without failing. They're just not going to. And I was the same kind of math student. And that they get so frustrated and upset, and their parents get upset that they have bad grades, quote unquote bad grades, which are still above average, and you go like, hold on. They're not good at this, like, give them time to figure it out, and it's not coming naturally. I think we get caught up in that a lot with college too. And granted, like, you don't want to be skating by the skin of your teeth,
true,
because you're not going to have any expertise on the back end. Like the reason you want good grades has to be so that you're prepared. It shouldn't be for the sake of good grades, or even like for the cloud of it or whatever it might be. You don't want a lawyer who got bad grades in law school, because that means that they don't know the law as well as somebody that got A's, or they didn't cheat as well. I don't know, but you never know. I would say, and that applies to anything, whether it's ministry or not. But at the same time, like, you're not going to ask your plumber, how'd you do on your exam? You're going to ask your plumber if he can fix it or not, and that's the important part.
Have you heard the Einstein quote about?
That's actually
plumbers?
a misquote.
Oh, is it actually?
Yeah, because I just used that the other day.
The fish one?
Yeah.
Like, if you judge
it's a good quote. It's a good quote. Whatever.
Yeah, if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, then it's going to think it's a failure.
I've always liked that.
Yeah,
That's
good. That's good.
So who?
I don't know.
No?
I pulled it out the other day and I got called out for being a misquote.
I got fact checked yesterday on Instagram, so I
saw
ranted
that
about that.
too.
I ranted about
saw
it.
that.
So it was it's a paraphrase of
Frederick
Douglass.
Yeah.
There we go. It was a paraphrase of Frederick Douglass, and I didn't know it was a paraphrase, but I saw it on somebody else. Like one of the guys I follow had posted it, and it was fact checked. And so then I posted it and was like, "Why is this fact checked?" And then I got fact checked.
Oh,
It was my first ever fact check.
Hey,
And then I ranted about how instead of fact checking strong kids, we should just raise strong kids. Like, how can anyone say raising strong kids is the wrong idea? It's just.
Hey, you're being part of the problem right now. Okay.
I am being part of the problem, boys. Yeah.
I was kind of thinking about something.
Yeah.
Like what, and comment off of it. But like the difference between having the wrong kind of ambition and misplacing your ambition.
Okay.
Because that's kind of the vibe that I was getting when you guys were talking about the whole homework thing. And it's like sometimes you don't have enough ambition for that. Or you put all of your ambition into that one thing.
Yeah.
I feel like that's kind of misplacing it. Whereas, like, having the wrong kind of ambition, that's when you're doing things like out of pure selfishness, you know, to only gain from it. Because that's the kind of ambition that the Bible warns about, is the selfish kind, that you're doing something for people, not because you are like doing you're doing it because you know you're going to get something out of it, is what I'm saying. Like,
and you can take that into like sensualities and sins of the flesh too, where like your ambition could be to get as many women as possible, or be able to drink more than anybody else, or whatever it might be, and you might not look at that as ambition, but it becomes your
look
God,
at it
right?
as an accomplishment.
Well,
the world does.
It's an idle conversation, yeah.
Well, in TV shows, media, and like I think especially with sex, with that kind of really, and it's just crazy how the world treats it as something that's not intimate. You know,
you're getting me right in the chest there. You're chasing a hot wife, or you're chasing the right wife,
Exactly.
It's horrible.
Oh yeah, we can talk about sex and how it's wrong in the media for.
Oh yeah, like that's a rabbit hole for days. But like you said, that's something that you can have very selfish ambition for and towards. Like look at Joey Tribbiani from Friends, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like that's kind of his whole character's thing.
Barney Stinson.
Yeah. Barney. He's one of my favorite TV characters, but I can't watch it anymore.
It's tough.
I watched it through college. We were so into it, and I watch it now. I'm just like, man, I can't. This takes my mind places I don't want to go.
It's hard. It's hard because, like, who's being hurt in that sin?
Right.
No one outwardly.
Well, in the shows, there's no hurt. I mean, like maybe you
and
see
when there is,
but
they make jokes about it. Like it's a funny thing.
Yeah.
And they try and downplay the severity of hookups and what it does to your psyche and your future relationships. And, I don't know.
That's exactly it. That's where I was before you said in the short term. Like that's exactly like when you say what's it hurting? It's hurting any future relationship that I have. It's hurting me down the road. It's hurting the people I love down the road. And it might not be like a hardcore pornography addiction. It might just be like I have a hard time being intimate with my wife. I have a hard time. Like I'm struggling with my teenage daughter because she's turned into a woman, and now I feel awful about it because she's the same age as the girls I'm watching on TV. Those kinds of things that can destroy relationships without you ever realizing that it's happening.
Yeah.
You guys all been to an E-Day? Yeah.
Who?
Evangelism Day?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I have not for
maybe?
like 10 years.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Those are solid.
Well,
I don't know if I would have.
No, that's not true. I presented at an evangelism day
really?
once. I forgot about that. I had like this slick back mohawk thing going on. I brought some students with me. We all wore shirts and ties.
Why do I feel like I remember you then?
This would have been like 6 years ago.
Oh, okay.
5 years ago.
Maybe it was from the animated Rudolph film. He was wearing he was wearing a costume.
Mining for peppermint.
Well, anyways, during an E-Day, there was a great presenter from Wisconsin Lutheran College, or high school, who talked about how porn can ruin relationships because, it causes problems between the husband and the wife, but also because it gives men and women the like completely wrong idea what sex really is, and like it makes it picture perfect,
right?
Where it's not really.
Yeah,
it can't. It isn't always like that. But yeah.
Well, and even further than that, it gives you that dopamine dump.
Yep.
So now you're not getting that dopamine dump from regular women and real women.
Yep.
And now they're doing things that you're never going to be able to pull off. And in reality, they're not even enjoying it. No. They're actors.
True.
They're playing it up so that it looks like they're enjoying it. And then it's an addiction. It takes you further and further, and it takes a bigger and bigger hit to get you going.
Sure. And another dangerous aspect, it's such a short-term pleasure that you can obtain so easily. Yeah. And you start to
3 clicks on your phone, man.
Right. It's just oh, I need some sort of happiness or some sort of pleasure. Boom, boom, boom. There, done. Feel like crap afterwards.
Yeah.
It's just so dangerous.
Right.
How easy it is.
So, and to turn it back to ambition, that changes. It changes my worldview. It changes the way I see everything, and not just sex. It changes the way I see the people around me. It changes the relationships that I have. It changes all of that, and then what I then pursue, and that warps and changes things. And that's again not just porn. That could be anything from trying to look good. I'm all for obsessing over stuff. I actually kind of encourage it to an extent. The idea that if you're gonna be good at football, you better obsess over football. If you're gonna be good at basketball, if you're gonna play at the college level, you better be a baller. You're gonna have to spend some time and money and get out on a driveway and shoot when you're 10 years old. Otherwise, it's never gonna happen. If you're gonna be if you're gonna be able to translate the Bible, you better study the Greek at some point, right? Forget about the grades. If you're gonna do what you're planning to do, you're gonna have to study it. And we get obsessive about these things, and I think the season, we get caught in a season, and when a season ought to end, it doesn't. It's easy to think about the high school buddies that never quite got out of high school. They're at every game, they're wearing their letter jacket, they live and breathe by the team. It's how do you know every 15-year-old on the team? You're 30 years old, and those are the easy examples. But a lot of times we overlook the real life examples going on around us every single day. So whether it's just the guy that works out too much, he's just trying too hard to be fit, why you got to be 5% body fat and training every day? Why you got to why you got to drive the fast car, whatever it might be. I think it's an idle thing. We're either going to chase. What's the Bible passage? You can only have one thing sitting on the throne of your heart. What Bible passage am I thinking of? You can only serve one master. You're either gonna love one and hate the other. You're gonna, I don't know.
Whatever.
I feel like
the principles there.
I feel like weightlifting is something that most times trying to get your body right, and there's so much selfish ambition behind that. Not only is it you just take the idea that it's healthy, I'm bettering myself, but it almost becomes a sort of obsession. I want to look good.
Sure.
Yeah. I want to be able to take my shirt off in the summer.
Yeah.
That becomes a sort of idol in a way.
Yeah.
And it's I don't know. It's a dangerous road to go down too.
Yeah. Well, and there's good reasons to do it, and I'm probably never going to stop doing it. But it's really easy to get that twisted. And all of a sudden, it becomes more important than everything else. It becomes more important than my relationships and all that kind of stuff.
So real quick, so that verse, I've got Matthew 6 verse 24. No one can serve two masters. Either you will hate one and love the other, or you will be devoted to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve both God and money. That was, and there's some context to go along with that, but
yeah.
You can apply that.
Yeah, you can apply that to just about anything.
I think there's different levels of foolishness in that too. Where you've got the guy who goes all out and gets shredded and is I don't know why we're picking on weightlifting.
Marty.
Marty did. But whatever. When you, it's a good microcosm. So you got the guys that go all in and even to the point of taking drugs and all that kind of stuff, and you're like, dude, you don't even compete. What are you doing? Yeah. And then you have the guys on the opposite end who are obsessed and they have no clue what they're doing and they get zero results and they just keep showing up, and you're like, man, what do you do? I
know that feeling.
No
idea what I'm doing.
Well, but where you're going, you want to be healthy, you want to get strong, and you're obsessed with it, but you haven't taken any time to gain any expertise in it. You don't know what you're doing. Why don't you slow down and learn something so that you can have some results? You know, and that drives me a little bit nuts too. Sure. I think that's a dangerous trap to fall into, where you just blindly pursue something and never actually like put the work in. Maybe
somehow I kind of feel like selfish ambition definitely is a little bit more. Not intellectual, but I think if you truly are selfishly ambitious about something, you're going to be able to get around an obstacle like that. You know what I mean? Just to kind of bring it back to what we started talking about with ambition, right?
Well, I think
you know what
I
mean?
would actually push back on that. I think the more selfish you are, the bigger your blind spots are going to be.
Sure.
And your blind spot might not be the expertise. Like you might be an excellent, weightlifter, scholar, whatever it might be. But you're so blinded to, the way other people see you. You're so blinded to, how brashly you treat others. You're so blinded to, whatever other side effects that there are. You don't even care or see them. And it could be that the side effect is that you look like an idiot because you don't know what you're doing and you just keep showing up every day. Right? Yeah, hurting yourself all the time,
Right.
It could be either of those things. I think the more selfish your ambition is, the bigger your blind spots are going to be. Whereas if you can bring it back and you have healthy ambitions, because there are very healthy, like we've been hating on ambitions, but they're really healthy ones. And if you have clear goals in mind and you're chasing these healthy things, your blind spots are going to be smaller because you're grounded in reality. So
well then to kind of like try and complete that thought, what is that reality that you're grounded in? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, how do you make sure that what you're doing isn't being something that's selfish and only for you? Like, how are you sharing your ambition to, again, in like our position, to further God's kingdom in some way, and do His will. You know what I mean? So like, what do we ground that all in?
Well, it's got to be grounded in faith, right? Right. It's got to be. It's the easy answer. Well, and it has to I think that's united to your purpose, then, right? And everybody, while we all are studying to be pastors, each one of our purposes is a little bit different, right? We have different skill sets, different interests, different talents and abilities, all that. So it's going to look a little bit different for each one of us. And I think our purpose is also going to be a little different in that. I think locking in on what your purpose is, and we're talking long-term purpose, not short-term purpose, right? Sure. Long-term goals, which in order to achieve long-term goals, you got to have short-term goals. But again, if you lock into that purpose, it's going to be a lot easier to decide what has a place in your life and what doesn't, I think.
I feel like that goes back to what you're saying with your purpose is what we were kind of talking about at the start, was what ambition is setting goals that are going to further better yourself.
Yeah.
Which I thought you tied that in nicely with. Solid.
You had something?
Say it, Josh.
I mean that's all. Yeah, everything's good. The ambition is what drives you. And I
Hey-o.
Sorry about that.
It's all right. I do think the ultimate ambition has to be in faith, looking towards Jesus, because anything else, if you have an ambition for any other purpose, just won't be satisfying. Whether you completed that goal of that ambition or not.
So
yeah.
Kind of to that point, then it's like, if we have any ambition other than to do it for Jesus, isn't it selfish?
Yeah.
I
heard a John Piper sermon once where he took the text that says, we run a race marked out before us, and he kind of reframed it to this conversation of, does it help me run? I look at all the things in my life. I'm supposed to be running this race. What helps me run and what bogs me down? And the things that bog me down and slow me down and burden me along the way, I'm going to strip those off. I'm going to throw them away, and I'm going to run, And the kindergarten chapel version would be like, you don't want to run wearing snow boots and, a weight vest and, whatever it might be. You're going to take those things off so you can run as fast and as straight as possible, right? You're going to pick the straightest path. Yeah. And you're going to run that race as fast as you can. You're not going to let anything distract you. Even to the extent of you're going to sleep at night, you're going to eat the right food, because that race is all that matters. And it's when you get distracted by the other things that you start to slow down and you can't run as well.
I think that's hard for people of this world who aren't as faithful, non-believers. But even for so many Christians, I think that's got equally as difficult to understand that. What is this?
It's a
Voodoo Ranger.
New Belgium IPA.
Mm-hmm.
It's fruity. Oh.
This is very fruity.
Okay. Yeah.
Tastes like an IPA.
Not as fruity as Gus is, but
Shush.
yeah.
Voodoo Gus.
I got a point to add to yours too, Charlie, about the running the race. What's gonna help you run your race? This is a basketball devotion that our coach talked to us about during practice. Before practice was, what do you fill yourself up with? I think it was a James Hines podcast sermon thing.
Oh, sure.
It's like, what music are you listening to? Because that's going to control your thoughts, is what you fill yourself up with, what kind of stuff you're reading, what you're looking at on your phone. I feel like so much.
Oh, yeah.
It's how you fill yourself up with, what you put in your brain, your body is going to help you achieve your ambitions, your goals. And I feel like us just mindlessly scrolling through social media.
Yeah.
Sure.
And now I see I'm staying away from TikTok, but I see a lot of girls dancing with clothes off or just inappropriate jokes. I'm like, kids nowadays are just filling themselves up with garbage.
Oh, yeah.
And how is that going to help you reach your ambition in any way? It's just mindlessly scrolling through this stuff.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, it's that idea that you can never stay still either. Like you're either moving forward or you're moving backwards. You're getting better or you're getting worse. There is no like, I'm good where I'm at, I'm going to stay here. Like you're either growing or you're falling apart. One of the two. And you got to choose which direction you're going to go.
Yeah. I was just going to say, like, my mom, I've mentioned this on the podcast before, but it's like my mom always told me growing up is the whole garbage in, garbage out. You know, that's the second half of it. Like, you're letting all that garbage in. How's that going to make you act towards others? Yeah, you know? And it's exactly right. And I think in a competitive environment, too, with sports and stuff, it's kind of hard in the sense that, especially with music, it's like, you know, I get a little bit more pumped up listening to old Kanye than I do to Toby Mac or some, you know, just some kind of Christian or new Kanye. Well, but you know what I mean? It's hard because in those athletic environments where you're trying to get, you know, jacked and, you know, get in your head so that as much adrenaline and whatever other kind of hormones are going on there can be pumping through your veins before the competition, you know, like it's hard to get to that point in what would be honestly a godly way.
Collision Course, Jay-Z and Linkin Park. That'll get you going, man. That gets me going every time. If that album's over, I can lift the world, bro.
Yo, I don't know. I mean, Black Skinhead, that one gets me going.
I feel like music is such a great example for kind of what we're talking about, too.
Sure.
Yeah. It's like, how much easier is it to listen to old Kanye, or you're working out to Baby, old Kanye, or someone to get hype.
What a Eminem, something, you know,
when,
not
like,
even
Lecrae,
it's
just like, it's not gonna do it for me.
Right.
It's like we put like what we want over what we should do, and that's the basis of every sin ever.
And it's not even that there isn't music that'll get you going that's out there. It's that accessibility. Like it's it's so much easier to just fill myself with garbage, you know?
Yeah. Put on public playlist. You know,
exactly. Well, it's like it's the diet idea. It's so much easier to just stop at the fast food joint and get some burgers than it is to go home and make a salad, you know?
Yeah.
It's just accessibility.
I think the cleanest song that I would ever get pumped up to, it's called Watermelon by Tom Rosenthal. And I don't know. It just got me pumped, and like I showed it to other people.
Mineo can get you pretty lit.
Like I mean, honestly,
Andy
kids
Mineo?
in your class would love that song. Like
Watermelon.
Watermelon by Tom Rosenthal.
Okay.
Crazy fun song, but like I started listening to
you
it.
Hear that, boys? Watermelon by Tom Rosenthal. Because I'm not going to remember.
No, they're not going to be impressed.
I'll play. You can play it a little bit?
They love you, by the way.
What?
They think you're the coolest.
Oh, that's
They don't think I'm the coolest, but they think you're the coolest.
Wow. Okay, fellas, this is gonna. How many seconds am I allowed to play before it's illegal?
Like 7 or something like that. Don't you get me banned?
Oh, that is a thing. That is a thing on YouTube.
Yeah, I've heard about that.
Oh no! Wait, can you put the song in the description or something? And
I could.
And then it makes it.
Yeah, then it's good.
Well, exactly the rules.
Okay, ready for this?
I don't think I am.
Am I going to pick
Okay.
strawberries or work
That's all we
out?
get. That's all we get.
Okay, and then
Is it
That gets you hyped up.
is it all
okay,
water?
hold on. I gotta give you some context,
I could listen to that before bed.
dude. Okay, but here's the thing.
Give you a little joy,
Here's-
you know.
It is
Look,
a
I'm
happy
feeling
song.
down.
But see, here's the thing: is I got into that song during wrestling season. Now that might seem a little weird, but it's not because
No, as soon as you say
Subjective.
wrestling, nothing's weird
Okay.
anymore. It's just, okay, yeah, wrestling.
Okay, and reason being is that throughout like middle school and throughout those early high school years, it's like the only thing coaches tell you to do or fellow teammates is like you got to get mad, right? And you got to like get angry to go into a
yeah.
match, right? And so I would do that and I would do horrible. Like it
Yeah.
would be my worst matches ever. So I was like, you know what? I want to just go in pumped up, like excited and kind of happy-ish more so than anything
Gustav
else.
mode.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's 'cause
honestly,
who
that's
you
what
are.
it was, right? And the thing is by listening to that
mode.
song, it just got me in a good zone where it was like I'm not like pissed. I'm just because I enjoy wrestling because it's a fun sport to be in,
Mm-hmm.
and so that just kind of
Whatever you say.
okay.
Is that whole song just watermelon, watermelon, watermelon?
There's other words.
Oh, okay.
Here.
I was curious. That's all I heard so far from the sneak
Here, let me
peek
look
is
at the full
watermelon.
lyrics. It says watermelon, 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 water. Oh. It's watermelon time.
Okay.
And then wait. I said boom, 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 boom. It's watermelon time.
So I think it's 5 words now.
Okay, yeah. So we got. So we have it's time. I said
Oh no.
watermelon. So those are the
6.
6 words. And then it's a fruit-based love.
What an ending.
Yeah, so what is that? 1, 2. That's 8 total words, different
Okay.
words in this whole song.
Well,
My
And-
kids won't get started on their math homework the way they're supposed to. I just put on minimum wage by They Will Be Giants.
Oh, there you go.
It just it just starts with like minimum wage, and then somebody cracks a whip, and it's just like elevator music for 2 minutes. It's just like super boring elevator
it
music.
works though. Huh?
And I put no, it doesn't work.
Oh, it doesn't work. No.
It gets my point across. Though.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah.
anyway.
Anyway,
Yeah. No.
what did that stem from again? So I can bring this full circle.
Listening to.
Oh yeah.
garbage
garbage
Listen,
out.
like that's and
Watermelon in, watermelon out.
they're just singing like it's just a dude singing about watermelon. You know,
Yeah.
like. It's not bad, you know.
Yeah.
It's not something that's saying, "Oh, f women and make money" kind of stuff. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's not that kind of, and
Yeah.
that's what a lot of pump up
Sure,
songs
sure.
are
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
about.
Mhm.
You know, or I'm gonna do this for me and like gonna rule the world. You know, those kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So-
think even more dangerous in music than swearing is the mindset of I'm awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
Because I mean, swear words I've heard a lot of
I'm the man. I'm the man. I'm the
I
man.
love that
yeah.
song.
Or everything is awesome. No.
That's a great song.
But it
though,
is
as
a
well.
great song.
It is
Like,
good.
the rap part
I'm
of
not
that
gonna
song
lie,
is
that goes-
kinda
That was the
right.
point, guys. You can't like that. That's what they were trying.
Never watch the Lego Movie, kids. It's all about yourself.
It is all about yourself. Okay, all right, so real talk. If you're gonna talk about movies that can poison kids' minds, those movies are up there. I know, like all the messages, not just the Lego movie.
Subliminal messaging.
Yeah, the subliminal messaging of like, you're enough, you're okay. No, I'm not. I'm broken and disgusting, and I need a savior. And if somebody tells me my entire childhood that I'm okay just the way I am, that's how we get into this weak like victim
Yeah.
Yep.
culture
Mentality.
where
Right.
like, but I'm okay. I am okay the way I am. So you can't tell me like. You basically, if the world doesn't like me, it means I'm not as valuable and worthwhile as I thought I was. Whereas, I mean, frankly, Christian kids grow up hearing you're dirt. Like you literally came from dirt. You'll go back to dirt. Your only value. Yeah, no, that was a little harsh. But your
I
only
like the
your
That's the
only
idea.
value.
Yeah, that's the
Your
idea.
only value is based in what my Savior, not even what my Savior sees in me, what my Savior has decided I'm worth.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where a lot of Christian music and stuff goes wrong too, where they're like, you know, you saw me and you decided to come and save me. Like, it wasn't because he saw me and was like, you're worth it. He didn't think I was worth it. He was like, no, you're not worth it, but I'm going to come do it anyway because I love you. It doesn't even matter. Like, your worth doesn't matter because you mean that much to me. You know?
See, that's proper. That's proper ambition.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right.
That's
like,
perfect. That's perfect ambition.
I don't deserve any of this. Like, all of this is a gift. I'm just gonna give it back to you. You know, and I'm gonna use it that way. This is the only thing I'm doing. This is it. I'm giving it back to you. I think that goes with the does it help you run conversation, right? Like, if oh man, yeah. Now I feel like we wasted the whole first half of the podcast. We should have been talking about this the whole time.
I agree.
Man.
I was gonna say that's my favorite thing about a person is when they see the flaws in themselves and they love when you call them out on what's wrong about them. Is that I'm not gonna be perfect. I'm gonna mess up, and I want people to call me out on it. I gotta be ready to take that and improve myself. That's ambition to get better, to better yourself.
Yeah.
And it's I think it's almost easier in Christianity because you know you're missing the mark every day.
Yeah.
So when someone calls you out on your sin, you're going to be ready for it. It's like, I know I messed
And I know
up.
that you know. And I know that you know, so that if you come back at me like, hey, what are you talking about? I'm like, whoa. Like, we believe the same thing. Yeah. We need a heart check here. You know?
And I respect you for coming out and saying it.
And this might sound harsh, but I have a hard time respecting anybody that won't. If you can't look me in the eye and tell me the truth... what are we doing
here?
Exactly.
Sure.
And it's not like that you're devalued as a human being, but you're not going to get a place at the table. You know, like you're not bringing value to me if you're not willing to bring me with you.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. I don't know. I just we get so caught up in that in the things of this world. Yeah. So, I guess with that in mind...
This is the coolest podcaster ever right there.
Coolest I mean, he's got 3 different patterns on, too. I mean,
we mentioned that.
We talked right here.
We talked about that earlier.
So, I walk into the cafeteria. I walk into the cafeteria. Oh, yeah, I was... No, not appropriate. Not appropriate for right here. Never mind.
Oh, boy.
I was... Okay, now I can't.
You walked into the cafeteria. I was sitting there.
He was sitting there with his girlfriend and Jacob. Not his girlfriend wasn't Jacob. It was his girlfriend and Jacob.
Yeah, that's why he said and.
Well, I felt like I said it
proper
fast.
Grammar.
Subordinate clause. Yeah, I know. I got you.
Nerd.
So, anyway, and she just is like, you're wearing too many patterns right now, and I can't handle it. And I'm like, okay, Erica.
That's why I'm wearing 2 colors.
I was like,
this isn't too bad.
No, it's not that bad.
It's not the worst.
Yeah, I know. You gotta make sure you got it locked up. Yeah.
And then I said to Erica, and Josh immediately stood up and punched me afterwards. But I said to Erica, your personality is 3 different patterns, and I can't handle it right now. No, I'm kidding. That's not what I said. I'm sorry.
You got her right there. You got her.
And it was like boom. And then
Josh
Jacob's over there. He's like, oh. And then Josh is like, hey. And then
I actually saw this go down.
Yeah.
You just got a bag of popcorn.
It was tense.
See, I told him it was gonna happen. That's why he had the popcorn ready. I was like, hey, you ready to see me get in a fight with Josh?
I've been waiting all year.
So,
what did I miss out on?
If godly ambition is all about giving it back to Jesus, like giving it back to my Father that loves me, what are the things we ought to be pursuing? Because it's easy to get caught up in Jesus all the time and everything, which is true. But that doesn't mean that I just read my Bible all day and do nothing else, right? So what are the things we should be pursuing as men?
Like activities? What do you mean?
Sure.
Yeah, I mean,
what could we, should we? I mean, we can go anywhere with this.
Yeah, I mean, we are of the world, you know, or we're in the world. We're not of the world. And a lot of the good pastors I know will go play basketball in the city park and start a relationship with some unchurched member. You know, who knows where they come from and what their situation is, and
not bad, though.
start a relationship.
It's kind of
you know, and.
Sorry.
Is it good?
So enthusiastic.
Only people watching. Only people watching the video are gonna understand that. If they're just listening to the podcast, they're just gonna hear me in the back. back.
What we're saying is you
You had a
should
good
go
point. You had a
subscribe to
good
the
point
YouTube
going.
channel.
You had a good point going.
You did have a good
Thanks.
point
Thank
going.
you. Thank you.
But
did.
my pushback is, does it even have to be based in like ministry? I mean,
Oh,
it could just be
yeah.
like, hey, I'm gonna go play basketball because I like playing basketball.
I mean,
Well,
yeah, or start a
And the
relationship with
ministry,
anyone.
I mean, because we're all about Jesus all the time, that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
You know, if they can't see Jesus in you, you're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
a quote that I like about that is, "You might be the only Bible your neighbor ever reads."
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So they have to see Jesus through you the way you
like
act. And I think that is, you go to a basketball court, you go play anywhere you go, nobody knows you. Like, oh, that guy might be different. He's
Dude's
not
a
trying to
little-
pick
Yeah,
fights.
like, what's
He's
different
not
about
doesn't have
this
an
guy?
ego.
Yeah.
I think
Why is he
ego
so
is
chill?
the biggest
Yeah.
thing. I mean, I struggle with is like not getting into it, not trying to let my ego dictate the man I'm gonna be.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I think that's where people can see you differently if you.
Yeah, I was like 25 years old before I could play pickup basketball. Seriously.
Oh,
It had to
it's
be
a
the right group of men, too.
That's a
I
problem
still can't play basketball
Well,
because I don't know how. That's it.
So when I started in college, I never played pickup basketball because I didn't want to hurt myself for football, right? So then my first interaction with pickup basketball, I'm in the hood playing with a bunch of guys from the hood, and it was so aggressive all the time, and it was like normal to get in a tussle or whatever. So then I would come up here to visit, and I'd be playing with a bunch of dads from St. Paul's and professors and things, and I'd be like not trash talking, even just being too mouthy, you know?
Yeah.
And they're going like, what is this?
Yo,
deal?
dog,
Like,
chill.
exactly. Like, why are you being such a jerk? And it took me a long time to kind of unlearn that, and this is how men are supposed to compete with each
Oh.
other.
So where did you grow up?
After Shoreland,
Chirac.
so I grew up in La Crosse. I was born in Indianapolis.
Okay.
Grew up in La Crosse. Went to Shoreland,
Yeah.
and then after MLC, I spent the last 6 years in inner city Milwaukee.
Oh, okay. And when did you graduate?
2014.
Okay.
So I
Okay.
taught at St. Marcus for 2 years, and then Siloa for 4 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very nice.
well,
Yeah.
Cool.
one point I was gonna say when you were talking about. Oh, I didn't know if you
No.
were saying
But I
it.
was just
Okay.
curious. Just curiosity. That's all it was.
But when you were talking about how we go about in our Christian lives, I was like, we don't push this garbage that we hear. We don't try and
Yeah.
make it seem normal. We can
Yeah.
be the guys that say, we don't have to just buy into all this crap we hear on the radio. We don't have to
Yeah.
be the guys listening to it. We can be the difference, and people can see it. It's like, oh, there are like influential men out there who think this is cool to do something that's not what the world sees
Not
and is pushing as
mainstream,
normal. Yeah. And it's like, I think that is the most important thing with, I see like one of my favorite NBA players, Jonathan Isaac from Florida State. He's a pastor. He's a Baptist pastor, but a great person nonetheless. But he is just literally the least mainstream guy ever, and just he's just his own man, and just you see the love of Christ in him, and I'm like, that is someone influential that I can see is not mainstream, doesn't get caught up in all the stuff. I don't know. Love to see that.
I gotta say, man, about the third week of class after Christmas this year, when it was like 0 degrees for 10 days straight, Southern Baptist University sounded pretty great. Let's go find a Baptist seminary somewhere.
Yeah,
Like, the
do they have-
doctrine not great,
to
but at
learn.
least it's warm.
Yeah, do they have a beachfront campus down there?
I hear Corpus Christi,
Yo, yes.
Augusta. Yeah, that'd be great. But no, we're up in the north. Good Lutheran North.
Hey,
I like
Hey,
it.
hey.
I like it up here.
I do
Yeah.
like it up
I
here
like
like
it up
this
here.
time of year.
Yeah.
I do like snow.
We
I
like
do
to
like
suffer.
snows. Yep.
We like to suffer.
it makes the
Man.
good times better.
Yeah.
Have you guys heard
What's that?
when they were deciding where to go with MLC? It was either New Ulm or
Don't say it.
where
Appleton.
Concordia
Oh.
Mech
Oh,
One.
okay.
Oh,
I
yeah.
thought you were gonna
Yeah,
say
it was
something
one
more
of the two.
shocking. I was.
Have you heard the rest of the story, though?
I don't know if I've heard the whole story.
So they were at a pastor's conference, way back in the day, and they were deciding where they should, which campus to.
Those
'cause
are
they
the
had
two,
two
right? Those are
opportunities.
the
Yeah,
two.
it was
Okay.
basically two farmers saying you can buy my land.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure.
And
Well, this farmer didn't
so
have a lot
this
of
is
land.
the way the legend goes.
The legend.
The legend goes that right before they did the vote, the pastor because it was at St. Paul's. The vote was at St. Paul's. The pastor says, "Hold on." and they all walk out of the church basement, and he takes them all the pastors outside, and he points up to the top of the hill where there's a construction project already underway, and says, "Gentlemen, your college of ministry." And then they went back inside and voted that New Ulm should be the place for
So they already started.
He was already spending money. That's the way the legend goes. That's the way the legend goes. That might not be total. It might be apocryphal.
It better.
That's the way the legend goes.
I've just heard.
I think this is a great place to go to college.
I
think
not
it's
the greatest, but a great place.
I guess I think a big city would be dangerous because
it would be tough.
Oh, is that what the other
because
option
of what
is?
we're doing? I think this is a good place to be.
Sure.
A lot of heritage and Lutheran,
Yeah.
like
Started
German,
here.
Yeah.
It's here.
Well, and we
There's
devalue
Herman
that sometimes.
Herman's here.
Yeah,
Herman's
a stuff.
Jesus is here now too.
Hey, about time.
Well,
It's been a while, but Jesus is here.
Hey,
Well,
but
he's been in the chapel the whole time, but now he's in the chapel and outside.
And
of the chapel.
outside.
did you watch the unveiling today?
No, that was just a rehearsal. The real one's on MLC Day.
What?
Yeah, real one's next Wednesday.
Okay. For our viewers, real quick, the statue has been up for about a month. No,
Well,
sorry,
but you
that's
can't
too
put
much.
up a statue and reveal it on the same day.
Especially when we're not here.
Well,
But I understand. It is.
it
Weird.
was
is
silly.
weird.
It was very silly watching it. They pulled the tarp off, and I'm just like, yeah! And the guy over there, he just is like, he gives me a thumbs up. And I'm like, yeah, that's what I like to see.
This was just more of a rehearsal. I would say it's not really a revealing of the statue. It's more of a dedication of the statue.
That
okay.
makes sense.
See,
Yeah.
that's better.
Yeah.
That's better.
Isn't there a
So-
whole liturgy behind that too?
Yeah. There's a whole thing in the hymnal.
And the if they I hope they talk about like why it's there and the whole process that went into choosing that particular statue too. It is a cool story.
I like that statue a lot. Sorry, Marty, but I like this Fisher of Men statue
Does it
more.
bother anybody else that Marty's finger is way too long?
Oh,
What?
is it?
I haven't
Next
noticed.
time you walk past,
it's-
look at his finger pointing into the Bible. It's like twice as long as it
He's
should.
just really
That's
wanted
because
to-
the Bible's
really-
extra important,
Yeah.
Charlie.
Really wanted to ensure this is where we're going.
Giannis Antetokounmpo finger.
Yeah, it's right. Like his long Marty finger just
No.
going.
Okay, so something I was going to say. Herman was actually alive at the time of Jesus. Just fun fact.
No, I thought it was after that.
No.
Not a lot after that.
Okay, so it was like, so Jesus was 12 when Herman defeated
Oh, I didn't know that.
the
I thought it was like
Roman
100
army.
years after that.
Mm-mm.
You watched
No.
that Netflix series?
No, that's what
Oh,
Kelpine taught us. Kelpine was telling us that in
that's
Rise of the
right,
West.
because he was fighting against the
But
Romans. I just thought
barbarians?
it was later on.
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about?
No, it's not Barbarian.
My
It's
ancestors.
it's called
about?
Herman.
Oh,
It's
there's
strictly
a
about
Netflix?
Herman.
On Netflix?
8 episodes.
Oh,
It was
wow.
the best thing
Okay.
I've ever watched.
Well,
Whoa.
So here's
It's
what's
required viewing if you're in New Ulm.
No, I was literally
It's like you
in
have to pay your
shock.
taxes and you have to watch Herman.
okay, but on Netflix there's another series called Barbarians. It's only in German and Latin. I guess there's a English dubbed version, but I wouldn't watch
Latin
that.
would be sweet.
But yeah, it's like the Romans only speak Latin
all you.
and the Germans speak German.
Sure.
And it's actually really cool, and it's essentially about the same. It's the same thing as Herman. It's about when they ambush the Roman legions coming through the forest.
You guys
You know.
all know the story of Herman.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's just
He's
Yes, he
awesome.
is.
He's awesome.
Yeah.
I have a little cousin that's really pumped about it. He doesn't live anywhere near here. He lives in New Mexico.
Oh.
You gotta bring him up to visit.
Yeah, he's like, well, he would write letters to my dad, not me, to my dad, and he would be like, so did our ancestry come from the Vikings? And Dad's like, yes, absolutely. I don't actually know if that's true on the Wenz
Well, your
side.
last name is Wenz, so it's a good chance.
There's a very good chance, yeah, but it's just fun. And we sent him one of the New Ulm magazines that we have.
Sure.
Those special ones that has the old man with the stein on the front holding a kid on his lap. You know, the best combo.
That's the best combo.
Best combo.
Yeah.
But
Anyway,
ambition, am I right?
What should we be pursuing? What should we be ambitious about?
Yeah.
I mean, I personally
Jesus, dude.
I really enjoy lifting weights and
Yeah.
being like
That's-
that healthy lifestyle.
it is so addicting.
It
is
is.
once you get into it. It's like
In a good way.
yeah, no, it is.
Yeah.
I think
That's
it is
what
something
I-
you can do. the
And
rest
it's
of your life.
also like as long as you keep it under control, like, it doesn't have to be an obsession. It's just like it's the
Hour a
fun
day.
part of my. I love it. It's just a fun part of my day. And some days it's an hour, some days it's an hour and
and
a
it
half.
helps the rest of your day too.
It
It's
does.
like after I
Sure
get my
does.
workout in,
Feel good.
Yeah, it feels
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
confidence.
It's easier to study.
Self-esteem. Yep.
The better better shape
It's
I'm in,
weird.
the easier it is to study.
I don't know if I like working out in the afternoon like we do for track practice and stuff. I mean, like, it's nice to get a workout in, period. Like, that's always nice. But having it in the afternoon just kind of sets the evening up in a weird way.
Yeah.
Because then it's like you're kind of worn out, but it's like you still got
afternoon is prime nap time too.
That's
See,
fair,
I
though.
take a nap and then I go work out.
Sure.
So I take like a 25. I set a timer.
that's
25-minute
that's
nap
probably
and
the
then
right
I
way
go
to
work
do it.
out.
You can
Yeah.
fall
Yeah.
asleep on command.
Pretty much, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
And even if I don't, I just lay there with my eyes shut.
that's
for
still-
long
it
enough,
helps.
and it helps.
Yeah.
If nothing else, it's like at least meditation time or something.
sure.
I
you know?
feel bad for people who actually can't fall asleep because whenever they're like, "Oh, I can't fall asleep," I'm like, "Just close your
I
eyes."
attribute it to high school marching band, like spending when you spent enough overnights on a bus, where like you don't actually get any bedtime.
Were you part of Vanguard?
Oh yeah.
Oh really? With my dad?
Yeah.
Yeah?
So you know your dad. He's got like 4 of the same shirt, and he's got a hat that matches.
You
it.
bought my dad a hat.
I bought the hat.
Yeah. It's still
You're
in my
at the
dad's
Mall of
office.
America.
It's still in my dad's office.
Connections, man.
Yep.
Hey, Wells
Keith Wordell, everyone. Keith Wordell.
So you're gonna get a kick out of this. So my sophomore year, there was this hot new babe of a tuba player, and all the girls were just obsessed
At
with
Shoreland?
Nate Wardell.
Oh.
Oh man,
Wait,
he was this
not you,
babe
Josh.
of a tuba
Not you,
player.
buddy.
He wasn't not me.
Josh, you're
No,
a babe
no,
to
in
us.
Vanguard.
You're a babe to us.
Oh, in Vanguard. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, it was him, and then there was this kid. I can't remember his real name, but there was this other kid from West that we just called Gromit.
What
And he was
instrument? What
Wait,
instrument?
West Lutheran? Minnesota?
Yeah. He played
Trombone?
baritone. And he could not hold the thing up to save his
Oh,
life.
no.
Because it's like a front-facing baritone.
Yeah,
It's not one of these. So it weighs
Oh,
like
it's
12
one with the
pounds. No. Like it's shaped like a trumpet, except it's a baritone.
That's whack. I
Yeah,
don't
it's like
that
12
at all.
pounds.
That
And you have
makes
to
me
hold it
very
out in front of you like
uncomfortable.
this. Well, we could get 14-year-old girls that weigh 97 pounds to do it. We couldn't get Gromit to do it. And he was like,
Poor Gromit taking a beating right now.
If
If you're out there,
Gromit,
man,
if you're watching, I'm sorry. First of all, I'm sorry I don't remember your name. I'm sorry we called you Gromit for 2 years.
Jeez,
poor kid.
Gromit, you know what?
I
Reach out
remember
to us.
you fondly, Gromit.
No,
I owe
Gromit.
you a beer, Gromit.
Reach out to us.
To Gromit.
You come, to Gromit. To Gromit. There we go.
There we go.
Oh, what a guy.
So, Nate, if you're watching, hit me up. Tell me who Gromit is.
There you
I'll
go.
ask him. I'll ask him. Yeah, no, my dad still has that hat though. My dad still has that hat in his office.
Yeah, it's a little bonding time. It's okay.
Anyways. Go Pacers. Go Pacers.
Go Pacers.
What? Sorry, I don't do basketball
Okay,
at all.
besides... what?
What
What are you talking about?
I don't know what I'm talking about.
This is marching band.
Marching band, yo.
Close,
Also,
like-
go Lutheran Vanguard.
Yeah, not
I've
a
heard
thing
those
anymore.
things.
Not a
No,
thing anymore.
it's
Not a
not,
thing
but-
anymore.
Okay,
Yeah,
there is
sad.
a Pacers basketball team though, right?
That's the
True.
Indiana.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Indiana
just
Pacers.
wanted to make sure I wasn't talking crazy right now.
It's
okay?
also a car from the 80s.
Oh yeah.
70s
good for
even.
you.
Does
Yeah.
anyone know what is
It's an AMC Pacers.
what is your guys' school name after?
Shoreland?
Yeah.
It's
like
Pacers?
near the shore, I think.
No, but the
No,
are you
no,
guys
it's
the
like
Pacers?
it's like
the
someone
Pacers.
who sets the pace
Yeah.
of a race.
Yeah. It's like a
Yeah,
pace
they're the
set- yeah.
fastest.
Creative.
Yeah.
But it also...
we don't have a real mascot.
if I
Rise,
remember
Phoenix,
correctly,
rise.
if I remember
Phoenix.
correctly, it was like the school became, because before it was like Kenosha Lutheran or whatever, and it was existed and it didn't exist and it existed and didn't exist, and when it finally became Shoreland, it happened to be the year that the Pacer came out. So
Oh really?
yeah,
Oh,
but
that
that's
is-
not why they named it that.
Sure.
But it just and also the Pacer's
the
a
Hart
terrible,
Pacer?
crappy car, but.
Yeah,
Well,
what about-
pacemaker?
yeah,
I mean, it's the same
pacemakers.
idea. I don't know if a
Almost.
pacemaker would be quite the same.
We could maybe make that the mascot of Shoreland.
But both of them make
Hey,
a
the
pace,
SL is
right?
legendary, though.
True.
I need an
should've-
SL to put on my car.
Hey, so we were talking about ambition, right? I'm sorry.
We
We've gone
were.
off track
We were
so
talking about
hard.
That's all right. That's all right.
Hey,
Okay,
it's
okay.
interesting, though.
It
Yeah.
is.
It's called the BroCast for a reason.
Talking about life,
Dude,
just
I'm
brother
sorry.
stuff.
That stands all whack now since I set it up. You got to
Yeah, it's all
tighten
good.
that one deal.
No, I think I just need to stop leaning on it up here.
Oh, you're leaning on it too?
Yeah, I
Okay.
put it down here so I could mess with the controls.
I was gonna say because
but-
usually I do one of these.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I like a lean.
I was wondering, this may not be like podcast worthy,
It's
but
okay.
like, what do you think of CrossFit?
Okay, so
This is
I'm curious. I'm curious.
Box of worms here.
Hey, yeah, because I have a coach that swears by it.
I would
so
love
I want
to
to know
do
what
if
you
you
think.
have a good coach who is trained in like biology and kinesiology and all that kind of stuff, not a CrossFit certified coach, but like someone who's a legitimate trainer who knows what they're doing and who is going to like. So here's the deal with CrossFit: is there's a lot of CrossFit boxes because you can't call it a gym; it's a box.
Really?
Yeah. Well,
Why is
so it's
this?
called a box because it's just an empty room full
Yeah.
of equipment. It's not a gym because it doesn't have like a sports-specific purpose, right? So if you're going to a gymnasium, it's going to be like a gymnastics gymnasium, a weightlifting gymnasium,
Or
whatever it might be.
basketball court
So
or
they call it a
some
box because it's essentially an empty room full of
equipment.
So I have no issue with CrossFit. It's a great way to stay in shape, especially
I've seen some
if
ripped
you have.
people CrossFit.
So the thing is with those super ripped people from CrossFit, they don't do a quote unquote CrossFit workout every day as their sole workout. They might do that to like stay lean or stay in shape or whatever, but they also train like the core lifts and they train the Olympic lifts and all those types of things on top of the CrossFit workout. There's a lot of people who quote unquote do CrossFit who show up, go hard with poor form at low weight for 20 minutes, and they might as well just go for a jog. Like it's a hit workout.
Yeah.
They're paying $500 a month for a bad hit workout. Like a hit workout that doesn't have any downtime.
I do
So
respect.
you have to be really careful. So one that I know is excellent is Badger CrossFit in Wauwatosa. I think it's Wauwatosa or Waukesha. It might be Waukesha. Is like my buddy Nick has been there several times. I've never actually been there, but I know that they produce athletes. Yeah. You know Nick?
Yeah.
I was the best man at his wedding.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
he's the closest thing I had to a brother.
Did you just say
Wow.
Nick?
Yeah.
You're talking about. Oh.
Yeah. His mom died last
Yeah.
week, so
Oh no.
Touchy subject.
prayers with you. Well, Nick isn't
Love
the
you,
touchy
Nick.
subject.
Love you, Nick, and your family.
He's great at Olympic.
He's
lifting.
big. He's a big boy.
I just
awesome
want to be
guy.
as strong as Nick, and I never will. No matter how hard he hasn't worked out for a year,
Nick,
and he's still
hey.
stronger than me, and I don't like it.
Hey, chill out.
Sorry.
Nick came out when I was doing javelin practice by myself with his kid. He
Yeah,
was
Levi's
taking him for a
dope.
walk. That kid is so cute.
He
Oh
is.
my
He
God. looks just
he
like Nick.
cries every time he sees me.
Oh no.
Well, okay. That
It's the
kid
beard.
can
He
hold
doesn't
the
like
Yeah,
javelins.
you look tough.
How old is he?
When we sit
how old
together
is-
in church.
Sorry. How old is Nick's kid?
He was born on the 4th of July, so he's 18 months.
Okay,
Ish.
well, he was
Impressive. 20
able
months.
to hold the
impressive.
javelin.
I mean, he's Nick's kid.
Yeah, and
His
he was
father is
throwing
the
it.
vanilla gorilla.
That kid
The
could throw it 3
vanilla
feet.
Gorilla.
3 feet. He's 7 months. 6.
Eight-
How many
18
months?
No,
months.
20
18
months.
months.
He's
18
gonna be
months.
2 on the 4th of July.
He's gonna be 2. Okay, but the point is he was.
Yeah,
I mean,
you're
like
right.
the
Yeah.
jab. It's
He's
not
a handsome
heavy,
kid,
but
too.
it's pretty.
I mean, I would say most 2-year-olds could hold the javelin.
Okay, well,
But
okay,
still.
I thought it was impressive.
I mean, it is.
Levi is an impressive little kid.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Nick, congratulations on your impressive kid.
And they're having another kid, too.
Oh.
Hey,
Another boy.
Oh, are we allowed
Congrats.
to talk about it now?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, she's like 5
Okay,
months
well,
pregnant.
last time,
Oh, don't
last
say
time
it.
you and I talked about it, you were like,
That's
Gus,
true.
don't
That was
be
like a
telling
month and a
any-
half ago, though.
Well, you were like, Gus, don't be telling anybody.
The baby
And I'm like,
grows.
The baby.
The baby.
hey, we don't talk about the baby.
The
It's
baby.
The-
space.
The
baby. I mean, the
Baby
baby can
infant.
lay it down, but none of it's appropriate. So,
If he put out some clean music,
I
he
know.
would be tough.
dude.
The
Same
infant.
with NBA
The
YoungBoy.
infant.
If he
That's
could
what
lay
we-
down
oh
a
my
clean
God.
track,
Roddy
like
Ricch.
even kind of clean, it'd be legit.
If
but-
Kanye's new album would influence some of these guys
I know.
to do some of the same stuff, man,
know.
we would have some good music. to
Although
listen to.
Kanye needs to stop making gospel music.
What? Okay,
What he's
oh.
made is good, and now he's running out of good gospel music to remake,
Yeah.
and it's not as good anymore.
I mean, I'm never gonna say his
Hey,
theology.
Charlie,
is
are you
perfect.
making?
No, it's not.
Yeah, are you making record-breaking amounts of gospel music?
Yikes.
Like what?
Oh, why you gotta? Why you gotta hop
Okay. Sorry. See, this is why your kids like me apparently, because I
Yeah.
roast you, right?
Yes.
That's
Well,
what it is.
I think they just. I mean, you're a
have-
likable guy.
You have a
I do
you have
have
a
that.
you have a bubbly personality.
You
Hey,
do. There's a
thanks,
thing about
man.
you.
You have a bubbly.
They've also never met you in person.
They
Oh.
would like me even more then. No, that sounds weird. No, you wouldn't. I don't know.
That sounds weird too.
It sounds weirder.
Edit that out. Edit that out.
Let's just move on. We're moving on. Okay, back to ambition.
So what should we be? Health is something men ought to pursue.
like
what else
talking
should we
about
pursue?
Mental
health.
Yeah.
I mean,
mental.
that's a discussion in and of itself that could go for a while.
But go ahead, lead into it a little bit.
Well, I just feel like I'm actually writing a paper on social media mental health. I just submitted 10-pager.
Congrats.
Dude,
And it was talking about how
or something.
social media, the addiction to it, can cause sleep deprivation. I mean, how often is it to stay away from your phone, not get
true.
your full
That was last
No,
night.
that's
I
what
did
I'm saying.
that
do
for
the
an
same
hour
thing.
last night.
But then we have our teens.
Every time I sit down to poop, I'm like, just real quick. And then it's like 10 minutes later, I'm like, man.
Something that will change your life. I'm going to give you a pro tip.
Get rid of your phone.
No,
Oh.
download Duolingo. Every
Duolingo.
time,
Yes, dude,
every time you poop,
yes.
Yeah.
it's Duolingo time.
Yo, double 5, bro.
You'll learn a
Hit me with
language every day.
What are you learning?
Just 10 minutes. I just do it in Spanish.
It's really bothering me that you guys aren't snapping after you're dapping over there.
What? Okay, sorry we
Is
didn't
that
grow
a
up in the
move?
hood like you
Jeez,
did.
I did not grow up
We
in
don't
the
know
hood.
how to dap
Where
properly.
you come down and then you pull up
Oh.
here and then go.
Or
Ooh,
do
I
you
was
you can do
taught
that
that.
too.
I
All
was
right,
taught
Will
that.
Or
Smith.
do you do this thing?
Like the.
Yeah, and it's like
yeah.
a
I'm
kiss on
not.
the
I'm
top.
not fully up to.
That's a little too intimate. I don't know.
Too much hand
Just
touching.
a lot of
then
hand touching.
Next thing you know, it's just interlocked fingers. Oh,
Just holding hands.
no.
How about a high five?
That's what they
We
do
don't-
in
yeah,
Jewish
let's
culture.
just-
They just hold hands.
Just a good high five.
Josh really likes
Did you
the
know that
classic
Ronald
high five.
Reagan was obsessed with earlobes?
Was he obsessed with
Who
that?
is it?
Tied into holding hands. Ronald Reagan.
Ambition of earlobes.
Okay, this
So,
has gone
there
so
are
off track
pictures-
of what he just was talking
No,
about.
I'm on this.
pictures-
I want to hear
Okay,
this.
so sorry,
doing
Josh. I'm going to violate your personal
Oh,
space.
go
here.
for
All right,
it.
So
That's
there are
fine.
pictures of Ronald Reagan
Do your
walking
worst.
around with Mikhail Gorbachev just holding onto his earlobe like this. And apparently Ronald Reagan was just had a thing for earlobes, so he would grab people's earlobes and just hold on, like mess with them like that. And he'd be talking to you, and he'd just like reach up and start playing with your earlobe.
You want to feel?
And
that?
it was
Have you
like a
ever got
power
a good earlobe massage though?
No.
That'll change.
Is that a
That
thing?
Can I get
feels
it?
very
Can
good.
I get one?
I'm not certified. so
Yo,
I don't wanna do
earlobe
it.
massage
I've
feels
gotten
so
it.
great. My
So-
mom, oh,
Next time
Yeah.
I get a girl to date 3, I'm going to be like, all right. So
earlobe massage,
It's
do
about
it.
time.
here's the deal. If
Dude,
we're
you
going to
go
have
on-
a date 4,
Here's what you
it's
go
gonna
on
be
a
an earlobe
drive.
massage.
Dude, you go on a long drive. You're already holding hands, and you're like,
Whoa.
you just,
Hold on.
You just
you
take
just,
your hand and
you
be
just
like,
take from the hand, and you go like here, and then she boom starts rubbing the earlobe.
Why does that feel good?
Dude, if there's some weird.
You don't get it?
I must
Okay,
have been doing it wrong. Sorry.
Maybe.
See,
If I'd been doing it better, you'd have enjoyed it more.
Some people have like weird earlobes though, where they don't have the feeling.
Oh, interesting. Does it have anything to do with like attached versus detached
That's a
earlobes?
great scientific
I
question.
wonder. Hashtag science. What else should we be pursuing?
Ambition.
I mean,
Okay, I think we've gone a little
No,
off the
yeah,
rails.
It's
guys.
okay. It's fine.
That's just what guys
a BroCast.
do.
You know,
That's
I'm
what
gonna be
guys
honest.
do.
This might be the most broest BroCast that we've
That's.
had.
I think it's a great thing. I think it's
Well,
good.
I'm happy that
Yeah.
it's just always a good time.
here to
Oh
please.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm here to please.
Oh yeah.
I do think ambition is different from person to person.
Yeah. Yes.
Like you're into lifting. Evident.
Evidence and evidence.
No, I've seen you deadlift. It's very evident.
Today was deadlift day.
Really?
Oh,
I
okay.
cut it short for you guys.
Oh,
For you, man.
man, thanks.
I
bro.
That's
thought
love
it was because
right
you
there.
smelled bad.
Also that. Also, I took
Sorry.
a longer nap than I wanted.
Oh, sorry, it's worth
I
it.
took a
It's
nap
vital
today
for a
as
good
well.
deadlift day, man.
Yeah.
Sure.
Anyway.
Less evident.
Stop.
I mean, to a degree. Anyways, but I mean, each person has their different ambitions. And as long as they got it in the right place,
What you got going besides
Yeah,
track,
that's good.
obviously,
yeah,
and your studies?
yeah.
And
what
his
else?
girlfriend. He's
Well,
got a
I'm saying
girlfriend.
relationships is a daily
is a big
ambition.
one.
Yeah.
That's a daily ambition. I mean,
Whether
like,
you got a girl or not.
No, yeah, I agree. And coming to the last year of the last week of senior year, granted, I'll be here another year, because I switched from teacher track to bachelor track. Anyways, the class.
At least
I
you
just-
did it when you were what, 19 instead of when you were 27.
Fair enough. But like,
we got a guy who's 54 that did it,
That's true.
and I respect
That's
that.
true.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, last week I'm with you guys and the class I grew up with at MLC. you got to keep those relationships strong. And sometimes I think like, man, I didn't. Some of those relationships I should have spent more time on.
Yeah.
You know, and granted we have Sem, but I'm only with you guys for 1 year. Actually, I'll be with you more.
Yeah.
But anyways, the class
You gapping?
Yeah, dude.
Sorry, I interrupted you.
No,
I'm
that's
gapping.
fine. the class I came in with, I'll only have 1 more year with, really.
Because they're vicar year.
Yeah, you're only with them 1 year at the Sem. So
if I gap, I'm going to be straight up elderly before I
that's
graduate,
fine.
so.
That's fine. No rush.
I'm happy to gap. I mean, I talked to all my professors about it, and Professor Wessel is probably the most solid. He was like, "Man, you're young. Go out and meet people."
What are you going to do with your year?
I'm doing, and I was okay. So I'm blessed to come out of college with no debt.
Ooh.
And I got some good money saved up.
Very nice.
So I'm gonna spend the entire year just because when I get to Sem, I'm gonna be making more money too, because you work 20 hours a week plus weekends.
That's the idea, yeah.
So I'm just gonna go, and plan is to do a West Coast trip in a van, and just meet people who I normally wouldn't meet. I mean, I've never been out to the West Coast by myself.
Oh, that's awesome.
And it's like, I'm going to have so many sermon illustrations about this one day. I was telling Professor Wessel about that. He's like, you're young, you talk to people well, and just go out and spend this year meeting people. But he's like, there is fair warning. I've got lots of fair warning about being away from the Word every day, where it can be tough. I mean, you're not in chapel. You don't get these professor's wisdom. I mean, the world can really take its toll on you if you're not getting lifted every day. And I was like, that's going to be my biggest challenge is if I'm going to be a pastor, how am I going to be able to deal with it by myself? Like, I'm out there by myself. How am I going to be able to stay true to his word? If I can't do that now, how am I going to lead a congregation?
I'm so jealous. I would love to do
I'm
that.
just I just got blessed to be in a good position.
You got a girlfriend?
Nope. That's
Girls?
another thing, too. It's
ladies? Well, if you find a girl on the West Coast, it might be over on the back here.
I don't know. That's the kind of thing, too. I don't got nothing tying me down. And
that's another thing.
Respect, man.
Yeah, that's the other thing with social media is, like, we're seeing all these people that are super successful on social media at age
or who
20.
Look
super successful. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, people like us, or anyone really, thinks...
Would you leave everything and go back to school when you're 27?
Or they think they don't have it made, and they're not even 20 years old. And with today's technology, that's like a fifth of your life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's like a fifth of your life, and you don't have it made yet. That's fine.
They can't even legally drink.
Yeah. Well, exactly, and it's just don't worry about. You have time. You have so much time. Whether you come back and change your career or, you take a year off, it's fine. You got plenty of time. Yeah. And it's just with social media and maybe just the mindset of everyone these days is that if you're not successful by the age 25, like you got something wrong with yourself. When in reality, that's you're not even like a quarter done with your life.
Yeah. And as long as you got your eyes fixed on Jesus as you take those steps and those different diversions.
No matter how much money you make and how many girlfriends you have.
Well, time-wise, I mean, we got to start closing it out. I hate to do it, but we got to start closing it out.
Are you talking about life right now? Or
what?
You got Kool-Aid in the back?
What are you talking about? We're over an hour is what I'm saying.
I was talking about the Heaven's Gate cult. Have you ever heard of that?
Okay. Sure. Tell us about it, Gus.
All right. So
folks, this is going to be a long one.
No, it's actually going to be pretty short. So the Heaven's Gate cult, if you never heard of it.
What does this have to do with anything?
We're about to find out.
So, you brought it up by asking me a question. So, Heaven's Gate, it's a cult that originated in California, I think. And the whole thing was they got a whole bunch of people to join them, thinking that the end of times would be happening on a certain day, and it would be like an alien UFO that comes in.
Drink the Kool-Aid and you get to go.
Boom. And so what happened was on the night that the UFO was supposed to arrive, what you had to do was wear white Nikes and drink this Kool-Aid. That was like poisoned. Yeah, and it was poisoned. So there was about 50, maybe not 50, probably like 25 people that ended up dying because they fell into this cult's trap.
Don't drink the Kool-Aid.
Exactly. That's what the whole Kool-Aid thing comes from. Oh. That's why Kool-Aid is like, oh man, he's got the Kool-Aid. That's why that's the thing. Yes.
A little
3
Zorb.
Yes. Honestly, as funny as that is, that's kind of what it was like.
Josh.
Yeah.
Drake and Josh.
Oh,
I
I remember
watched
that
Drake-
episode.
His name is like Zorbus or
Yeah.
like
I haven't
Yeah,
watched
yeah,
Drake
yeah,
and
yeah,
Josh all the
yeah.
way through. I can't.
Oh, man, I
can't
forgot about that.
That's what I thought of.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Was he wearing white Nikes in the episode?
I don't remember.
I have no
Oh yeah,
clue.
I don't
That's-
remember why, but
the-
white Nikes is a key thing.
Frank
You wear
Ocean.
white Nikes and you drink the Kool-Aid.
This apocalypse is sponsored by Nike.
Exactly.
So
Well,
Nike didn't
just do it.
sponsor that shoe, but that Lil Nas X shoe.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
they were.
yep.
Oh
they were
gosh,
ticked
I could
about
talk
it.
forever about that.
So
but that's
that
just,
I mean, but so the other thing is like he's straight up baiting Christians. Like he really doesn't care.
No,
trying
yeah.
to piss us
He's
off.
he's
Yeah.
trying to tick us all off, and we're all taking the
that?
bait. Like why are we?
Oh, if I hear
in
that
this
song
context,
played,
it's fine.
I refuse to listen to that.
Right.
I will
Yes.
turn it off at any place.
Yeah.
And turn on KB's
No,
Not
no,
Today
no.
Satan
Oh,
instead.
Oh yeah, with his
KB.
new devil song.
I love
yeah,
KD,
Yeah, yeah,
KB,
that
man.
whole
Yeah.
devil prostitution thing going on where he's
with
like,
Lil Nas.
yeah, he's stripping
Yeah.
on the devil or whatever.
Yeah,
he's doing a
he's-
dance. He's
yeah.
doing a dance on the devil. Sorry, he's not actually stripping.
What? I don't
Yeah,
know.
so for those young viewers,
No. Don't even
so
give it the
you
time
don't
of
have to
day.
watch. Yeah, you don't have to watch it, but we'll tell you what it was. It's Lil Nas stripping on the devil. It's weird. Don't watch it.
Horrible is what it is. It's an abomination.
Yeah,
It
I
is an
watched.
abomination.
It is actually.
But he's
it's
doing it
definition
to
of
make us
abomination.
upset, and
Oh,
then
yeah.
there's a whole lot of Christians that
He's-
are like, ah! It's like, well, yeah,
Well, it's not just
just
Christians.
ignore him.
The Jews
you know, like,
don't like it
talk,
either.
talk about it to the extent where it can be like, yeah, this is what wickedness looks like,
Yeah, it's like,
and then beyond that, do we really need to talk about like the political and cultural
Oh, yeah.
ramifications
No.
of
Yeah.
a pothead dance, like making it essentially a fancy YouTube video of him dancing on the devil? Come on, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
let's end it on a
That's a whole
positive
other
note.
topic.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
See, that's selfish. That's selfish ambition.
Okay, so
right there,
what
right?
we would, yeah, absolutely. He's doing the
Pure selfish ambition.
pure wickedness for
Yes.
the sake of selfish gain.
Yeah.
But so we don't usually do this on a BroCast, but we'll ask you two this. You're about to be men in the real world, so the question is, what does it mean to be a man, or what makes a man of God?
I would say denying yourself and doing what you don't want to do is what I would say.
Specifically,
I like that.
like just doing things you don't want to do all the time.
I think that is a part of what makes you a successful man. Well, okay, getting out of bed. Do you want to do it? No.
Sometimes.
Well, okay, sometimes. But, that's the most baseline example. Okay, going to work out, doing the extra set. Do you want to do it?
Yeah.
I mean, your body's telling you.
Stop.
Your body's telling you don't want to do it. Okay, yeah, maybe
just
you.
trying to bring the
I
content
know, I
level up.
respect. Yeah, but it's a lot of things. Like, I don't know. I just feel like doing what you don't want to do.
If it's got purpose behind it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
But-
doing things when they're hard, maybe.
Yeah.
Doing hard. I talk about that all the time. Doing hard things. Actually,
Doing
I
things
just
that
picked up
scare
a
you.
book. I'm gonna go grab it. Go
Oh.
ahead. What does it mean to be a man?
Okay. I would say being honest to your emotions. And I think that's good for whether you're in the ministry.
Okay, Mark Paustian.
Yeah, I know. That's where I'm going with this.
Yeah, I
don't
love that
don't
guy.
you worry. Don't you
I
worry.
love that guy.
No. Whether you're in the ministry or not, if you're honest with your emotions, or in this world, it's more of like, be a man.
Pushback.
Don't fall into your emotions, and
I think
stand up to the
pushback
world.
is emotions can be so deceiving.
Yeah.
And emotions as a Christian, like Christianity, so many people base like Christianity on emotion. Like I feel
Yeah,
God, like I feel Him
true,
here in this
true,
song.
true. Yep.
It's not emotions. He's
And
there
then
whether
if you don't,
feel it or
say,
not.
yeah, and then that's the danger of if you don't feel him doesn't mean he's not there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you embrace those emotions, you're gonna be able to relate to a lot more people, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you can still be a man. You can still go lift weights, and you can still go play football, and be the stereotypical man
Right.
that the world thinks, and still.
But that has a lot more to do with biology
True.
than it does anything else. One of my favorite people in the world, I need to know him better than I do, is Matthew Bound from Camp Phillip. And
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to try and be at Camp Phillip this summer just because I want to
Oh
sit at his
my
feet and
gosh.
watch him. Like, he's just
Sure.
a great dude.
Can't
What?
fill up.
Who is this
Okay.
Doesn't
Stop.
matter.
Who is
They're
this
all the
guy?
same.
No.
Oh,
Clayton
boy.
Fury,
Okay,
amazing
stop,
person,
stop.
is a Camp Phillip.
Okay,
Okay,
Charlie's
lot of
on
great
that.
Camp
I
Phillip
love
people.
Camp Phillip people.
Lot of great
I
Camp
used
Phillip
to
people.
not love Camp Phillip people. I love Camp Phillip
people.
people now. Okay.
Cameron Schrader.
Yeah,
Yeah, boom.
exactly.
Right.
He's the only one I
Boom.
like.
Clayton Fury.
He's the only one I like.
Okay,
Lawrence
what about
Boy.
Schultz?
Hey, I haven't met any others except for Grace Bain. She's pretty
Schultz?
That's nice.
Oh, I
Luke
guess
Schultz?
he's kind of
Luke
Okay,
Schultz,
we're just
yeah.
gonna keep
Luke
adding to the
Schultz.
list of people that it turns out you do like. Oh, okay. Because
He
they
might
are all
show up
about
later.
Jesus all the time.
They're all
He
great.
better show up later.
I know. He said he
Anyway.
might. He said he might.
What was I talking about? Oh, Matthew
Luke.
always talks about how like his big thing, and I don't completely agree with him, but his big thing is why does it matter if you're a man or a woman? Just be after Jesus. And like I say, my pushback is there's a whole lot of biology involved. But it's like the difference between men and women is very subtle in the Bible. I mean, it's just the roles laid out by our Heavenly Father, which are like accountability, and then beyond that, it's biology. And I'm not saying that there's no difference between men and women. I'm not saying that at all. I mean, I have a podcast about Christian manhood, right? But the like when you get to the like, he's giving us rules, if you will, that match the biology he created us with. And so when you talk about like doing the manly things that the world's and the men's movement of the world is talking about, you know, like learn how to chop wood and you know, be competing with each other and all this
What
stuff.
we're made for.
It is what we're made for, and that's why we need to do it. And that mirrors our walk with God. It's a part of our walk with God. But when there are men who have no interest in that, it doesn't make them less men or less godly. It just means that they're different biologically, and our we underestimate sometimes how much our biology impacts all that.
Well, it's the thing, like, the wife
Science,
should stay at home with the kids because she's the only one that can breastfeed them.
This is opening up a whole different Pandora's
that's a
box.
good point.
Well, it's not
I
about
like that.
biology.
They're even like they're just like
It's like she was made to stay with the kid. Like, she's
Right.
supposed to
I
be
mean,
with
yeah,
the child.
But
Yeah.
at the same time, like someday, if I have a kid, just
We
a
live in the
kick-ass
21st
wife
century.
who makes a ton of money and she wants to go do her thing, I would have no problem staying home with the kids.
Yeah.
Me
Oh,
too.
heck
I
no,
agree with
yeah.
that, but it's like, I don't know. I just feel like there's a certain aspect of the.
Well, and many women want that to be.
Yeah.
This is a whole different
Oh,
conversation.
that's another.
Yeah, you're
No.
You're about to start another tangent. You better just.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Bring
okay,
back
so
ambition.
we'll talk about that
Ambition.
some other day.
now
as we
talking
close
about
out, no, let's
ambition.
close it out. Okay,
Alright.
so Gustav, where can we find you online?
Well, my Instagram is Gustaviano Wenzo, and then just look up my name on Facebook. I don't know what my username
Like
is. on
any good Italian who's actually German, whose name is not
See,
German
okay,
or
look,
Italian.
listen to what. See, that was my goal. My whole childhood was just to come up with usernames that were different always. I couldn't use Gustavo every time because I always did that, or I already did that with my Snapchat. So it's like,
that's a big one.
so hey, Snapchat.
Anyway. Go ahead, Riebe.
Find me online.
Yeah.
Find me online Instagram, Professor GB.
There we go. There
J
we go.
Riebe GB.
Okay.
Facebook, Jon Riebe. That's about it.
Here, let me see. I'll
I gotta-
follow you right now.
I gotta check what my Instagram handle is.
J Wordell 42.
Hold on. How do you spell John, brother?
Josh.
At-
JON, no H. Space RIEBE.
Boom. Gotcha. Followed.
Appreciate it.
Nice.
Sorry, Josh.
No,
Go
that's
ahead.
fine. I didn't even know what my handle was. At Josh Wordell _. That's my Instagram.
Underscore at the end.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't make this for myself. It was some friends, it was some high school friends that made my Instagram. I don't really go on Facebook, Twitter. I'm there, but anyway.
And you can follow the Gird Up Podcast anywhere that you find your podcasts, whether it's Spotify, Apple Music, Google Play, Podbean. I don't know where else you find
Podbean.
podcasts. Yeah, I don't. So there was one specific guy who, like, for 2 years was like, "You should be on Podbean. You should be on Podbean."
Wow.
And then I finally got on Podbean, and I sent him
And now it doesn't exist.
and then I sent him a message like, "Hey, we're on Podbean now," and he never messaged me back.
Oh,
and
no.
I was so upset.
Shoot.
Oh, I forgot to talk about this too. Okay, so Do Hard Things. I just picked it up. I don't know if it's good or not.
Who's
But
the
it's
author?
called Do Hard Things: A Teenage Rebellion Against Low Expectations by Alex and Brett Harris.
I would love to read
Forward by Chuck Norris.
Whoa.
What?
So
What?
Wow.
I know.
Dude,
Chuck Norris
legit.
wrote like a whole page and a half.
Good for him.
Wow.
Good for
No,
him.
3 pages.
real
Oh, there you
quick, Josh, you want to follow me back on Facebook, please?
I can't remember the last time I was on Facebook. I don't have the app.
Obviously, we're also on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, glad to have you here. Make sure you like and subscribe. If you don't have a Gird Up t-shirt, go get yourself a Gird Up t-shirt. These two fellas are about to have a Gird Up t-shirt.
Heyo.
And
I didn't know that.
you can follow us on Instagram at GirdUp_B_A_man. Find us on Facebook at Gird Up Ministries. The Gird Up website is up and running.
Wow.
Thank you to my 8th grader who helped me start the
Wow.
website.
Hey, grader.
And find us, join the Gird Up community as well. As always, like and subscribe. When you do that, helps us in the podcast world get more attention. You got something?
No, I was just going to ask, how do you properly pronounce gird up? Is that just it? It's just
Gird Up.
Gird up.
Gird up.
Yep.
Like,
you're girding
okay,
up
you're
your
about
loins.
to yell it. You're like at the front of the battle line. How do you yell?
No. You gird up like before you get to the battle line. So, so girding your loins is taking your long robes that you'd wear and you'd like tie them up around your waist so that you can move better. So the tagline.
Here we go.
So,
Gird up.
as it says, I can't read it.
What?
To gird up is an ancient way of preparing oneself for hard work or a battle ahead, and our work is to reclaim masculinity in the modern world and to live out our calling as men of God.
All right.
I
There you
love
go.
that.
That's awesome.
There we go.
Not gonna
Gird
lie, I
up.
spelled it
Great
G-U-R-D is
Great
what
message.
came to mind.
Anyway,
but it's
go be the man
G-I-R-D.
that
Yeah.
God created you to be. We're out.
Heyo.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for having us.
Appreciate
Thanks for having us.
Shabama-lama.
Appreciate you, Charlie.
Thanks, fellas.
Thanks for
You
having us.
know, hey, I just found out that there's some people, women, that are listening to our podcast because they were like, Gus, I saw that you were on a podcast. And I was like...